Real science says it's flat. That's right, folks. Greetings from England. I could not make it. I really wanted to make it, but not to say conspiracy theory, but I was due to have my passport on the 10th of July. And it looks like now I have to wait until the end of this month. So 1,000 apologies. I was really looking forward to going. I was looking forward to meeting some of the other speakers and a whole bunch of Romanian people. So Cluj-Napoca, hello. This presentation is going to be mainly about this map, but also about the sun and a couple of other things. Okay, so here we go. Here we have beams streaming in through aluminium blinds. What you're seeing is the light diverge. Parallel rays can't diverge. These rays are diverging. This means you cannot use sun rays to triangulate the shape of the Earth or the layout of its continents, because the sun is nothing like we've been taught. The fact that these rays are diverging tells us that the sun behaves differently to the ideas by which we've been taught to perceive the sun. We've been taught the sun is very distant, therefore its light falls basically parallel on the Earth. In this 5-meter wall, we're seeing, actually no. You could triangulate the distance to the sun. It would be about 12 meters away. It isn't really 12 meters away. It doesn't have any distance. Now I'm going to play a video I made some time ago. Oh, look at that big glare of sun, like dissolving the blinds. It's not really dissolving the blinds, it's just glare. But I'm showing this to show the gap between the blinds. Okay. This is the gap between the blinds. Can you see how very, very little the gap is? Look, oh, there's the sun. Glare. About as big as it was when I was way over there, wasn't it? Well, how is it doing this? Remember I held my little finger up to it? That's curious, isn't it? Now watch what happens with my finger. Oh, wave propagation, wave interference. No. Now let's see what it does with my finger. Oh, no. Light isn't what you've been told it is. And because you've not been looking with a clear mind, you haven't figured it out, and you haven't figured out what the sun is. I have. Now I say that in jest, but I have. What you're seeing here is what appears to be a second sun. It's not really, it's perihelion. This is a ring that causes perihelia. Interesting, huh? Now here you have what appears to be a double sun situation. It isn't. This is a reflection on glass. You can tell by the lens flare, that small orb. This too is reflection on glass. It's simply the one sun being recorded from inside glass, so inside a window. The light of the sun is reflecting between the layers of the glass of the window and then falling into the camera. Now what you're going to see is real double sun. You see the double flare? The man recording this knows that in order to show that he's outdoors, and in the audio of this video you can hear that he's outdoors, but never mind that, you could dub audio if you wanted to hoodwink the world. But you can't trick this double flare. Now, he moves the camera around to show, look, this really is in the sky. He's recording it because it's really there in the sky. This happens every single year, by the way, folks. It's not just bizarre anomalies. It happens every year at the same period of the year too. If this guy goes and makes a video at around the same time next year, he'll capture the same thing. Now here also, this looks like a painting. It isn't. But here you can also see the double lens flare, with the flare from the cloned sun, or the sun clone, being much more muted. Now we're going to see, again, there's the sun, there's its clone. The woman recording this turns to say, people might think it's the moon. No, here's the moon. It's obviously not Venus or Mercury, absolutely impossible. It would be nothing more than a sliver of a crescent. But there you go. You have the sun and this clone. Now, if you pay close attention, you'll see two lens flares. That's because these really are two light phenomena in the sky. Now what we're going to watch is a sun and a clone rising. This happens every year. In Brazil, this is captured by CCTV of a hotel which records real time, 24 hours a day, and makes all of their video available to the public free. It's all there. You can spend hours and hours watching. Now, incidentally, this happens around the equinox period, both times of the year. Now, this was September. You see our sun, and you see a clone to the right. As they rise in the sky, you'll see that the clone, well, it starts to leave a trail in the water. Our sun, obviously, is over to the left of the screen. And as the sun rises, the two suns rise in the same pace with each other, at the same time as each other. But notice how this clone disappears. Watch how it disappears. And after it disappears, its reflection or its effect in the water continues. This is part of what helped me understand the sun. The sun is a nexus of filaments. When these filaments go haywire, this happens. Now we're going to watch a rainbow from the ground, shot by a drone, and the drone is going to go up into the air. Now imagine that you were looking at a sunset and the drone goes up into the air. What would happen to that sun? It would appear to go up too. Just like this rainbow is going to appear to go up too. Now, you have to imagine, which obviously, if you're flat earthers, you can imagine. Imagine that you're still on the ground. You're on the ground and you're seeing a crescent rainbow. The drone is above your head and it is seeing a circle rainbow. The angle of elevation between you and the top of the arc is the same as the angle between the drone and the top of the arc to the same rainbow. However, your rainbow appears to be much lower in the sky. Just like the sun appears to be much lower in the sky to somebody on the ground, while somebody on the top of a skyscraper at the very same time seems to have it slightly higher. The reason for this is that the sun is an electrical phenomenon. When you go higher from the ground, you're going deeper into a denser field of voltage, electrical voltage in the atmosphere. Imagine that voltage to be water. it would be going into a higher pressure water. So when you go up into the atmosphere, into the denser region of voltage, and the higher you go, the higher the voltage, the easier the information path to your electrical receivers, which we call eyes. Our retinas receive electrical impulses. These electrical impulses arrive at our eyes through filaments. The impulse inside the filament is the Birkeland current. The filaments themselves are made of the ether. These filaments I'm calling the Subirats filaments because nobody has thought of this before. They're not crepuscules, they're not photons, they're not waves. They are etheric filaments. The outer shell of the filaments made by the voltage difference between the inside and the outside and the inside of the next bundle of filaments, like a tubular capacitor with a voltage inside that's much higher than the voltage outside. These filaments increase in size to larger than a rainbow, but they also reduce in size to the smallest nanometer, into the microwave, into the ultraviolet, and into the infrared. These are the filaments. These are light. The whole spectrum of light is one circle. Now, maps. The red route is the China-Europe block train, 8,077 miles long. Try plotting this on a globe. You can use Google Earth if you want, or you could use one that you have at home. You won't be able to. This is the map of our Earth. These are the shape and location of the longitudes which have been regimented for the globe. Note the splaying in the Atlantic and the bunching in the Pacific. We will see evidence of this. But our Earth has continental shelves and continental drift. This is the map of our Earth with those continental shelves. Now the Sun. Back to the Sun. How do we know that the Sun doesn't behave how we've been told it behaves? Well, if you pay attention to this Sun, which is only making a 1-day cycle in the Arctic Circle, you'll see that its speed across the sky is not constant. When it veers to the left of center, it means it has slowed. When it moves to center and past center, it has speeded up. This tells me that this camera is looking towards the southern Atlantic at the point where it moves faster across the sky. Why do I say this? Because the Sun moves across the sky faster between Africa and South America. It takes less time to do the distance that the globe says would be covered by approximately 15 degrees per hour. It covers those 15 degrees much faster in the southern Atlantic. There happens to be a magnetic anomaly there. Now here we have another video of the Arctic Sun, and you'll see this quite drastic lagging to the left. That's when the camera is pointing off the coast of South America, between South America and New Zealand. That's when it drags to the left. When it stays stable is when it's going over the Indian and Asian continents, and then it speeds up again between Africa and South America. Notice also that the way it moves in the sky is not stable. Now, this is not because of a problem with the EQ mount that's recording this. This is because the sun doesn't behave as stably as people think. You have to look at the world and see whether the things you think are true about it really are true, or whether they only appear to be true because you believe a certain thing, you look at the world, and you see what you believe you're seeing. You have to learn to think clearly, otherwise you cannot see clearly. If you are polluted with parasitic ideas, then you will see those parasitic ideas reflected in the world. And this brings me, sadly, to religion. If it offends you to learn that your religion is false, that all of your fundamental beliefs based on religion are false, if it offends you to hear that, and you think because it offends you, people shouldn't say it, then you should treat Globelings with the same respect that you expect people to treat you with, and not challenge their beliefs either, because they are religious. Maybe as time unfolds and more evidence comes to demonstrate that this plane is not a sphere, evidence will also come to demonstrate that this plane was neither created by a god, nor any of the religions any valid reflection on the thing they describe as God. Not valid at all. And when this evidence hits you in the face, will you refuse to accept it like the Globelings are refusing to accept the truth of where we live? Is your religion more sacred to you than truth? Like we try to get Globelings to look at the truth. We know it will liberate them, but they refuse to look. When the real world presents evidence that says your religion is false, your God is false, and your most cherished icon is false, will you refuse to look at it? Because it will happen. The Globelings don't look because they're afraid. Will you be afraid to look at the truth? There is no reason to be afraid.